So I'm going to be doing a stone veneer on the outside of my basement foundation. I built my basement walls out of ICF, which stands for insulated concrete forms, which means there's styrofoam on the inside and outside of the wall, and the center core is concrete. So that's like 2.5 inches of foam, the outside's 2.5 inches of foam, and the core is concrete. So I'm going to be doing stone on all of that, and I'm going to be putting stone on this chimney chase to hopefully make it look more like a real stone chimney. This is the style we chose. It is the fake manufactured type stuff, but it's still supposed to be pretty durable. So I've never done any kind of stone masonry work like this before, but after watching a few videos of other people doing it, it doesn't seem too difficult. So this is a rain screen or a drainage fabric. It's going to create a void behind the stone. In case water or moisture were to get behind the stone, it's going to give it an opportunity to kind of run behind and then drain out through this base trim here. And I still need to figure out a way to vent the top. You kind of want to get airflow from the bottom and somewhere for it to escape up top here. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do there. When I do the siding up here, I'm going to have a rain screen similar to this up here too, but that's kind of going to be a different situation, and I'll get to that when I get to that. But I'm going to keep this lower rain screen separate from the top rain screen. Also, I'm going to have a porch, a covered front porch up here somewhere eventually. That's why I'm only starting right there. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to start, but at least that much will be covered. That's why I'm staying away from that corner. For those of you who have no idea how I'm getting screws to hold into foam or have never seen these ICF forms before, all these blocks have built-in studs 8 inches on center. Everywhere where you see this name, this Fox block name, like right there and right there, every 8 inches there's a built-in plastic strip that you can screw into. That's what they look like on the inside. They say it has the same holding power as screwing into a 2x4. And while I'm on the subject of screwing, I've found it easier to run screws in with a normal drill instead of like a little 1/4 inch impact driver like this. If you run screws in with one of these, it goes too fast and it creates too much heat on the screw, and the threads melt the plastic stud, and then it doesn't grab very well. So you have to go a little bit slower, and it's easier with this drill for those screws to grab. Good job. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with this door yet. This is going to be an access door into my chimney chase. Eventually, someday, I'm going to have a wood stove inside the house, so I'm going to need to run a chimney liner inside of this that's connected to that wood stove. And I really wanted an access door right here, so when the time comes to do that, I can have a T coming out from the wall with a clean out underneath, so I can clean and service my chimney from under here without having to go climb on the roof. And that's a whole nother conversation, really a whole nother video. I'm not ready to do that yet, but I need to put in this access door now. So I'm not sure how I'm going to finish out this door yet. I don't know if I want to purposely make it look like a door and put the stone on it, or kind of try to conceal it with the way I do the stone. Don't really know yet. I also need to get some more zip tape. I want to zip tape the inside and outside of that door. So I do need to finish putting the rain screen and wire lath on this side of the house, but I'm going to start going up the chimney first. So I was able to borrow this scissor lift, which is awesome because it's going to make doing the work on the chimney a lot easier. Even though this isn't really the ideal lift, I kind of need a boom lift like the one I rented to install these windows. That would be a little bit more useful machine, but I'm going to make this one work because I have it. Well, that is as high as this lift will reach. I'm probably about, I don't know, 8 feet from reaching the top of the chimney, so I'm gonna have to figure out another way to reach to the top. I think from my basement floor to the top of the chimney is about 32 feet. I'm gonna see if this rain screen's gonna do what I want it to do. I don't know if that's a great example or not, but the stones are porous, so they're able to absorb water or moisture. And the point of the rain screen is if that water or moisture were to seep into the inside, it gives that water somewhere to drain behind it and then down and out instead of kind of absorbing into the foundation. I've seen a lot of videos where people don't even bother with the rain screen, especially like on zip system. They'll put the wire lath right on the zip and then mortar on top of that. I think it's a good idea. It's worth a little bit of extra cost just to put that drainage mat behind there, because you never know. And I'm not even really that worried about moisture or water affecting my ICF forms. I mean, these have been exposed for 2 years now. The foam that these are made out of doesn't really absorb water. It kind of repels water. It just runs right off, so it doesn't really want to suck any moisture into it. I'm more worried about the moisture affecting the zip system, like behind my chimney, but I'm just going to do it over everything. I think the sun does more damage to these forms than water does. Like I said, these have been exposed for 2 years now, and the sun kind of beats down on it and it turns into dust, and I'm sure it'll degrade it over time. I probably should have covered these up sooner, but I don't think it's really affected it that much. So I'm gonna finish doing that. I gotta come around this corner and then up and back and around here. So this is what I came up with for a vent at the top of my rain screen. The product's called Core Vent. It's just like layers of plastic with little tiny vent holes in it, and they make it in different sizes and variations and stuff. I think it's mostly used for soffit applications, like for some way to vent up in your soffit if you don't do like the style that I did. But I couldn't find really any other good videos of reference on how people are venting the top of their rain screen like this. Maybe because it's overkill to vent the top, or there's another method that I'm not sure about, but I haven't been able to find anybody really talk about how they're venting the top. Plenty of people seem to explain the bottom, and actually I've seen this used a lot on the bottom to allow airflow to get behind that rain screen. But this is what I came up with for my assembly. So in theory, if water or moisture were to weep behind the stone into that wall, I have the weep screen that's perforated on the bottom, and then there's a 1/4 inch gap behind that rain screen, and there's air movement is able to get from underneath all the way up top, and then I think it can find its way out that core vent stuff. And this will be somewhat concealed when I do the siding for my walls. I'll have like a drip edge kind of covering most of that. Although the holes are small enough, I'm not really worried about bugs or anything getting in there. So I've got that core vent going all the way around the top of my wall, except for the top of the chimney. I am going to do that at the top of the chimney a little bit different way. Still need to figure out a way to reach the top of the chimney. Got a few ideas I'm going to try, But other than that, all of my rain screen's on, the wire lath is on, and I'm ready to do a scratch coat of mortar over everything, and then my stone can stick to that. Alright, now before that sets up, you're supposed to take a scratch tool like this and scratch it horizontally, so then that when this sets up, your stones have something rough. The stone mortar has something rough to stick to. Something like that. Alright, so that's not too bad of a job. I definitely need to put some plastic over my windows and metal roof though, because I'm already making a mess. I just picked up all of my stones. I got 500 square feet of these normal flat stones, and then I got 80 linear feet of cornerstones. This stone mortar is much different than like the base coat. It's like super sticky. Alright, that was my first bag of mortar, this section of bricks here, and I already have a lot better idea of what I'm doing than when I first started. I had my mortar mix consistency a little too thick to begin with, and then the sun kept coming over the house, beating down on it, and it was setting up even faster. So I think I have the mortar figured out now, and I have to try to stay out of the sun. I'm also done working around this corner now, and it's a lot easier to do this work standing up on my feet instead of laying down on that goofy hill. So I think I can get going a lot faster now that I have an idea what I'm doing. Alright, so I've made some progress on the stone. I've gone up almost as high as that scissor lift will reach up on the chimney there. And then I started coming around this corner with it a little bit. And this is what I came up with for my hidden chimney access door. It pretty much turned out how I wanted it to. You can't really tell it's a door when you're looking at it from a distance, but if you're up close, obviously you can see like the outline of the opening. But I think this looks a lot better than trying to frame in like a wooden door that would really stand out. So this conceals it a lot more, and I'll have to come up with some kind of rubber foam gasket or something to seal around the outside. I mean, it doesn't really have to seal, but I kind of have to fine tune it a little bit. This stonework is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. It just takes a lot of time to do this kind of work, but it's definitely worth it. We're really liking the way it looks. I think it matches that retaining wall pretty well, and I'm getting close. I just got to find a way to get to the top of that chimney now. I mean, I don't think that's the dumbest idea I've ever had. That should work. It'll be fine. So I need to finish doing my rain screen, screwing my wire lath around there, then doing my scratch coat, then I can do the stone. So I still don't really have enough height to get comfortably up to the top of the chimney, so I'm going to add a few more pallets. It does feel alright though. It doesn't feel any more shaky than if that scissor lift were just sitting on the ground. I don't think the dogs agree with me. They probably think I'm crazy, but they could stay on the ground. Alright, so I finished my scratch coat going all the way up the chimney, and then I put my venting strips at the top so it can hopefully get some airflow. And then I painted some 2x4s and made a border around the top of the chimney. I'm going to figure out some kind of metal chimney cap that's going to kind of return over these 2x4s and have a little drip edge, maybe right where that vent strip is. So the stone's going to go up to the vent strip, and then there'll be some kind of metal chimney cap on here I have to figure out still. So I'm making some good progress with everything. I finished all the stone on the chimney and I'm working my way down with the grouting. Luckily, the grouting is going much faster than the rest of the process, and it's not as hard of work as like setting the stones. I mean, every part of this job is hard work, and I've underestimated the amount of time it would take me to do all this stone work. I've been working on this for over a month now in my spare time. I still have a full-time job, so at night and weekends for over a month, I've been working on this. I do have a newfound respect for people that do this kind of work full time. It is definitely a lot of hard work, but it's very satisfying at the same time. You get to see a lot of change, a lot of good progress relatively quickly. But I do like how it's coming together. It really changes the whole look of the house. So I'm pretty much done on this side, starting from left to right. The whole chimney's done all the way down to here. And I'm just getting around to this side where I have this chimney access door, and I'm liking how this is coming together. I'm able to just kind of grout around the ends here. I don't know how well it'll hold up. I know the grout's not super strong unless it's in a joint, so we'll see like how this edge holds up. But so far I think that's fine. I don't even think I need to really seal it much more than that. You can obviously tell it's a door, but overall I like the way that's coming together. And I still have to grout up and around this garage door and this side, all around this man door, and then I still have this little bit of stone to install. Also, I'm not finished up and around these garage doors where you just see this wood framing. I'm waiting on some trim, the same black fascia that I used like on these overhangs. This is that LP smart siding stuff, I believe they call it. It's mostly used for siding, but I used it for my fascia board on my overhangs. And I'm gonna border these garage doors like this and let it overhang, I don't know, maybe an inch or so, and then grout in between that joint all the way around. So this will all be black instead of that wood. I think it'll match better. So I'm just gonna get after it. I'm ready to be done with all this stone, finish it up, and move on to the next thing. Alright, so I am like 95% done with this stonework. I did run out of grout. I made it right to this corner here. So I probably need like maybe 2 more bags to finish this section. And I did stop with the stone right here because I am going to be doing a back porch by this back door eventually, kind of like the front porch. There's no reason to continue that stone underneath the porch where it's going to be covered. I am going to do some kind of skim coat of something to protect the ICF forms eventually. But I stopped the stone there. There'll be a porch, and then I will continue the stone once I get to doing this part of the house. I'll finish that stone around that foundation. So I need to finish that little bit of grout at the back of the house, and then when I get in this black trim to border the inside of these garage doors, I need to install that and then run a bead of grout around that trim. With that being said, if anyone's curious, I went through 22 bags of this joint grout plus the 2 more bags that I'm going to need to get. I think I got 26 or 28 bags of this base coat, scratch coat, minus the 3.5 bags that I didn't use. And then I think I got about 20 bags of this stone, the actual stone mortar that you back butter the stones with. I think about 20 bags of those minus the 3 that I didn't use there. So for all the mortar and grout mixes, my rough math of all this square footage was about 400 square feet. And I ordered 500 square feet of the stone. Each one of these boxes was supposed to be 100 square feet of stone. And I definitely have more than 100 square feet left, so either my math was wrong or they give you quite a bit of extra stone. But that's all right, because I'm going to be using this extra stone. So like I already mentioned, all of this stone was a ton of work, more than I had expected, and a lot of labor. I am curious to anybody watching if they do this kind of work, or maybe they've had this kind of work done, what you think this would have cost me in just labor, because I'm pretty sure I saved a lot of money in the labor of installing all this. The boxes of stone, the 500 square feet of just the stone that I bought, was a little over $5,000. And then the rain screen, the wire lath, the mortar mixes, all the other materials cost maybe $1,200 or $1,500. So I think I'm around $8,000 for just the materials of this stonework. And I'm guessing the labor to install it would be at least that. So I'm curious to hear anybody else's thoughts. But I'm glad it's done. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. So thanks to everybody for watching, and it's on to the next step of this project.